does the dog with the atypical form of the disease can develop electrolyte abnormalities? And the response is yes, because we know from studying the literature that these dogs can develop over time electrolyte abnormalities. So we have several studies. This is the only study that show that in about 20% of dogs, they develop the electrolyte abnormalities after the diagnosis of the atypical form of the disease. But after this, there have been a number of studies in which there were no electrolyte abnormalities described. So this means that there is the possibility that the dog is showing electrolyte abnormalities after the diagnosis, but this is not really common. So what we usually do in our practice, we measure the electrolyte every 2 to 3 months during the first year. After that, we measure the electrolyte every 4 to 6 months. But just to keep in mind that we need to say to the owner that if the dog is taking glucocorticoid but is showing clinical signs that can be suggestive of the disease, we need to reassess the dog and we need to assess the electrolyte, because that can be the case of a dog that is showing electrolyte abnormalities after the diagnosis of the atypical form of the disease. So what are the take-home messages from this presentation? First, always include the hypertrophic corticism in dogs as a differential in dogs with chronic GI signs, but always think also that the disease is really uncommon in dogs with chronic GI signs. The prevalence is really low, so it's more common to have a stimulation test that is inadequate because of the administration of glucocorticoid rather than a real hypertrophic. We have seen that we can use basal cortisol and urinary cortisol as a screening test, and we know nowadays that the best performance that we can have the best performance with the urinary cortisol, so the best sensitivity and specificity of the test. And we have seen that to confirm the diagnosis, it's not enough to perform the CTA stimulation test, but we need to measure also the endogenous CTH. This is really important. And also we have seen that the management of the disease involves the use of glucocorticoids, and we need to monitor the electrolyte over time, because this is a population of dogs that can develop electrolyte abnormalities over time. After which time we don't know, so we just can monitor the disease, because the dogs that I've seen in my practice, they have never developed electrolyte abnormalities, but it's a possibility, so we need to monitor these dogs. And this is my last slide. I will be happy to take any questions.